Now, one, any community, yeah, anybody, they can be Igbos, they can be whatever. If they go into another community and decide to create an enclave for themselves, what are the principles involved? First, it is clear that they want to live by themselves and not fully integrate into the community that they have gone into. This will seriously suggest clannishness, emphasis on ethnicity, or what some people call tribalism, and so on. It is negative.
It's negative, yeah.
It is negative. These are the practices which lead to nepotic behavior. You understand? We speak the same language, we have the same culture, and therefore we ought to help each other against others who do not speak our language and others who do not have our culture and so on. This is the problem. You understand? It's a huge problem. And especially for those of us who believe that ultimately we ought to build Pan-African unity. This madness, absolute madness of creating clannish societies, of creating societies, communities which are based on language, identity, and so on, is clearly unacceptable. And it does not matter whether it is Igbos, or Fantis, or Nzemas, or whatever. The inability to move out of our ethnic enclaves into the broader community and relate with people as human beings rather than kinsmen and so on is a huge problem. And it's not just a problem for Ghana, it's a problem for everywhere in the world. And we should have a problem with that if Irish come into Ghana and say, we want to create an Irish colony in Ghana. We should have a problem with it. I have a problem with a situation where today, in so-called liberated South Africa, there are white-only enclaves. It's a problem. It's the same thing here. So we should condemn this in the strongest possible terms because it does not make for unity and for the development of common purpose across cultural and ethnic lines. And in today's world, it's a very reckless, foolish, and unacceptable move. That is my concern. You see, when issues crop up, people milk it for all kinds of purposes. Now, if you go on social media, there appears to be a competition between NDC and NPP about who is responsible for this. So NPP elements have taken photographs of NDC top weights who have been seen in some social gatherings with this self-proclaimed Igbo king. And NDC elements have also gone to take photographs of NPP elements who have taken photographs with this self-proclaimed Igbo king. So, is that the issue? That's not the issue. You understand? So even within Ghana, the situation in which we have people, ethnic groups of other regions, migrating to other regions and forming enclaves and so on, must be condemned. Yeah. I am completely disgusted, with provisions of on our constitution which seem to institutionalize this attempt to see everything from a tribal and ethnic perspective. I'm worried about it. What do I care? If tomorrow Ghana has a government which is composed 50% by Nzemas and is improving access to education, roads are being constructed, healthcare, access to healthcare is improved, people's living standards are raised, there's no discrimination against anybody on the basis of ethnicity and so on. What is my problem? And indeed, these forms of representation are meaningless. Master, you are a Dagumba, ally. When you became Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, what special thing did Dagumbas get which others did not get under your ministerial direction? You were there to serve Ghana. You were there to serve Ghana. You were there to serve Evers, to serve Fantis, to serve Gas, to serve Nzumas, to serve Dagatis, and so on. But the insistence that a Dagoma must necessarily be present in government is foolish. The insistence that a Fanti must necessarily be present in government is foolish. Because bottom line, I mean, when you go to a cabinet meeting, you are taking decisions. You are taking decisions which will be in the best interest of the NDC. Why? If you go to an NPP cabinet meeting, you find an Ever there, you find a Fanti there, you find a Fafra there, you find an Nzima there, you find an Achim there. When they go to sit in the NPP, the NPP cabinet meeting, do you think that they are worried about Nzima and so on and so forth? They are thinking about how to win the next election. But when they come out of the cabinet meeting and they want to get our votes and so on, they divide us on the basis of our ethnicity. You know, I think this nonsense has to stop. And unfortunately for me, it does not matter when this idea came up. The fact that the idea came up needs to be condemned. You understand? The fact that anybody thought of creating an exclusively Igbo community in Ghana is a problem. It would have been the same if anybody had thought of creating an exclusively Indian community in Ghana or an exclusively Chinese community in Ghana.
Thank you everyone for joining us once again, and you are all warmly welcome, our new subscribers. We really appreciate your presence with us. On this channel, we bring you every important information about Africa, and here we are concerned about the delayed progress of Africa, and our hope is that through our contribution in terms of the information we share online, our African leaders, it will get to them. Our African leaders will learn some of the right steps to take to make Africa great again. And so, if you are someone who is also interested in the progress of Africa, then you are in the right place. We warmly welcome you, and we appreciate your presence with us every time. So in today's content, we have this Pan-Africanist from Ghana discussing one of the topical issues happening in Ghana. That is, Ghanaians want Nigerians out of their markets, business markets, and possibly out of their country. There is this self-acclaimed Igbo king in Ghana whose dream is to build an Igbo kingdom in Ghana. He actually recorded this dream, and the video recording has surfaced online. This has sparked a lot of outrage and confusion in Ghana. And this popular Pan-Africanist in Ghana and in Africa has his own take on the matter. And so that is what the video you just listened to. And he mentioned NDC MPP. If you listened attentively, those are the two main political parties in Ghana. And if you also heard certain names like Nzima, Hausa, all these are tribes or languages spoken in Ghana. And so we hope you enjoy the video, and we trust that you will join us in our next video upload. We kindly ask that you will leave a comment, like and share our videos to reach a wider audience. Thank you all. Until next time, peace out.
Ghana.